Hello, welcome to another tonalist landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence. I'm Francis McCarthy. How you doing today? And the painting we're doing today is a study after George Inness. It's called A Breezy Autumn. He painted this in 1888, and it's an awesome painting. I will say, so I'm going to read a bit from a book. I have I think just about any book on Inness that's been printed. This one's called George Inness. It's by Nikolai Sikovsky, Cikovsky Jr. You can buy this used. Get it. Just get it. Because it's got a bunch of black and white stuff in there, which is annoying, but the color reproductions in it are quite good. And I thought, oh, maybe this painting's in there, and it is, and it's much lighter than when I painted. I don't feel too bad though, because I was looking at many versions of this online. They were all dark, so I don't know, where this particular photo came from. But it occurs to me I might want to just start doing some, going through some of my Inness books, just taking a photo with my phone and doing a study from that. Anyway, that's sort of beside the point of the fact that I feel I did a really good job on this Inness. I'm really proud of it, and I think you'll enjoy this 15-minute video. But I think if you're a painter and you want to get more of that Inness juice into your work, which who wouldn't? I mean, he's the genius of the age, right? Of the previous age. Go check out. It's actually not just 3 hours. It was 3 hours, which is the painting session, but in the members area is the full live session, which is going to be longer than 3 hours because there's a little intro section where I talk about, I've got the reference up. I'm talking about some of the challenges I think there'll be, and then a pretty extensive color mixing session as well. And so one of the things I did here that really leaned on quite heavily was in those trees, like up in our upper right hand corner, a lot of transparency. Left a lot of transparency there. Also, because of my M. Francis grid. That's right, I copyrighted that grid. You owe me a you owe me a royalty if you use that grid. Okay. Just kidding, obviously. It's dividing the dividing the painting in half both ways, and the same with the reference. It's the most basic grid you could do, but if you have been following the channel and you're not doing that, you're missing out, because it really changed my life. And even when I'm deviating from the reference quite extensively, which of course I'm not doing with a study, it's helpful. It just helps me get my bearings quicker, and that's one of the things we don't even know how much time we waste doing that. Anyway, my drawing is sound here. Things are in the right spot, so that was a good first step. What did I learn from doing this? Well, I was just getting to say, bringing in that transparency from the brown in the trees and working with the paint rather thin there was key to getting a good effect. The other thing is, this is really a painting that's a lot about greens. There's a lot of greens in there. So having an attitude and approach that was appropriate to the bottom portion, I think I went quite well. Obviously, the whole painting I went several notches darker in value than are in this book, but that's okay. It's beautiful, and I'm happy to have done it. And I have to say that doing studies after, in fact, really only I do Dupree. I like Dupree because I relate to Dupree. I feel like I'm on sort of a similar level as Dupree. Not saying I'm better, just saying that I wouldn't class myself with an S. You know what I mean? But I will say I haven't seen many interpreters of an S out there that do a better job than I do. I'm just saying. What's that, a humble? That's not even a humble brag, is it? I've worked at it though. I've earned that right to say that, because I've done maybe 100 or more studies after Inness, and I've got more planned. and another one in the can. So, which is good because I'm going to be focusing on doing some icon painting this week, which I'll be recording for you, and I'll put that on the channel. Did a few nudes last week too, which one of them turned out really good, really fresh, not overworked, like pretty much every nude I've done prior. Anyway, you don't want to talk about nudes. Actually, let's just read a little bit from this book. So get that book because it's great. I think it was for the color reproductions in it, considering this book came out in 80s or 90s. Let's see. When did it? 85. The exhibition came out in 85. But it went to several different museums, so it was a very extensive exhibition. This book is quite good, so this would have been kind of a catalog of that. And Nikolai writes very well about Inness. He knows his Inness. You want this book. Anyway, I'm on page I'm on page 172, and this is plate 48, a breezy autumn, 1887. Sorry, the one we did the other day was 1888, so that's a great period. He died maybe 5 years later, so that's late period Inness is your best Inness, although almost there's standout work from every period. Yeah. Anyway, let's read this. Would you like to hear it? Perhaps even more than other artists, Inness favored certain standard canvas sizes, among the most common being canvases of 20 by 30 inches and 30 by 40 inches. Their proportion is 2 parts to 3 parts, the so-called golden section. I always call it the golden mean, but that's a great way to put it. 2 parts to 3 parts. He did love that proportion. He used it all the time. Well, 20 by 30. That's got me thinking. 20 by 30, 30 by 40. One day, when my ship comes in. It is notable, therefore, that in setting out to paint the picture that became a breezy autumn, Inness must have specially ordered for himself stretched the canvas 30 by 50 inches. Wow, it's really big. Even at first glance, the painting looks stretched and decidedly unstable. Other elements enhance this general impression: the agitated contours of the central tree and the clouds, the high contrast of the numerous silhouettes in the middle. Yeah, that's one thing I wanted to talk about. High contrasts of objects in the middle distance. That's weird, and it works, though. It works. I did it. I did what I saw, and it works. And the abrupt jumps from the plane of the foreground trees into the far distance. Viewing the painting closer, one can add to this list the sheer energy of the agitated brushwork of the sky and clouds. All elements of the painting work together to convey a sense of motion and exuberant freedom. They sure do. It's a great little painting by him. I'm not saying this is... Actually, this is a great painting too. And you know what? It's going to be for sale. It's for sale. I'll sell it to you. What have I been doing on these studies? I gotta look. I want to say... Well, I'll do that as I'm talking, alright? So, we're into some challenges here on these greens. No question about that. You know, it's the same old things. I always bring the same old things in for the greens. So, lots of reds. Working on the reddish tone is a big good start, you know. And then I brought in this case, pardon me, quite a lot of I'm just looking up that information for you because you're gonna want it. It's $2.99. I'll do it. American. I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do that because you know, we got the Cova going. Still, you know, pretty dead on this island as far as tourists and selling art and stuff. I've had some good success, so I've been very lucky. Praise the Lord. Yes. Anyway, let's talk some more about Inness, because that's why you're here. Yeah. So yeah, I would almost never have done that real contrasty thing that about where my brush is now. You see the shapes there. It's like, whoa, that's breaking a lot of rules, but it works. It works. So let's take a lesson from Inness. He broke a lot of rules and made them work because he was the man. Okay. The rules are there to help you. The rules are good guides. Like let's say the rule of thirds, right? You want to get your focal point centered in on a spot that is at one of the intersections of dividing your canvas into thirds both ways. That's a great rule, but you can break it all day and all night if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, you should use it. Use that rule to help you, because it will help you. If you haven't heard of it, just type in rule of thirds and you'll be on your way. That's actually, like I always tell people with color mixing, you know, once you understand what complementary color theory is and how to make secondaries from primaries, you know everything technically you need to know to mix most colors. You know, from there it's experience and working with good quality pigments. That's it. You know, rule of thirds, that's really your very best. Like, he didn't exactly follow it here, but you don't have to exactly have like the focal area fall directly on that intersection. It can be in the vicinity of. It's a good general rule. Basically, the rule is don't just center your subject, you know, your main subject. Oh yeah, and this is the other thing I want to talk about. I was so challenged on this painting in that sky because I'm working on a completely smooth board. He obviously had some texture. It took me an extra, I don't know, I want to say 20 minutes, half hour to kind of work in texture. But that's okay because I did it and I'm real happy. And I think I got a really good result. And it's a very interesting sky. You know, I do and am working on, actually I have a student of mine who's doing some work for me in the studio. Is going to do some textured boards for me, so I'll be able to lean on that. That does make life a lot easier. The last Inness I put up on the channel was done on a textured board, and I lean on that. That saves me time. But, you know, if you don't have the texture, you can just make do with what you have, okay? That's a good lesson. In fact, in the live portion of this, I think I was even talking about that. You know, like I've heard it a lot from artists starting out. Oh, I don't have this or that. I can't paint today. It's like, oh, really? Come on, get to work. Speaking of, if you're not working, you're just sitting there watching one video after the next. Just after you finish this one, of course, and you hit the like button and you join the members area, just turn off the computer, all right? And go to your painting area. Hopefully you have an area set up and ready to go for when inspiration strikes. And if you're waiting for inspiration to strike, no, I haven't had anything to drink. I'm a teetotaler. If you're waiting for inspiration to strike, shame on you, shame on you. Have you no shame? Just kidding. Shame on you anyway, though, because that's not how it works. Let me tell you how it works. You work, and then inspiration shows up for you. That's how it works, okay? Not the other way around. Oh, I'm inspired, and you know, I get inspired though. I start getting inspired in a painting like this when things start going well. I maybe get inspired when I say, hey, I managed to put most of these shapes in the right spot, so the rest of the painting goes relatively smoothly. That's inspiring. I got that green, I hit that color, I hit this color. That's the thing that's inspiring. But waiting for inspiration to strike you before you're going to start working is like, you've seen too many movies, okay? That's not how professional artists function. That's the agony and the ecstasy or something, or lust for life or something like that. That isn't reality. That's not how it works. A real artist works every day, paints every day. Yeah. Well, you could be a real artist and not paint every day. I won't take that away from you, but you get what I'm saying. Get busy, get cracking. You know, if you want to do a study after this, you can find lots of reference for this online. If you're one of my students in the members area, yeah, just drop me an email through my website. Say, hey, Mike, I'm a member, and I want your reference. I'll even send you the grid version. I'll save you some time. Hey, anyway. Thank you for joining me today. Thanks for listening to me ramble. I really appreciate you. Even if you're not a member, I appreciate you just coming around and spending time hanging out. It's all good. Isn't painting fun? Isn't it great? And what a wonderful painter Inness was. We're so blessed that he was here, and we're lucky that we have all this technology that enables us to find his paintings online and make studies and share that, and the whole thing's just a wonderful and glorious thing, and I'm very thankful to God for that. And hopefully you got something out of this. And until I come back with another video, do me a favor, do me a solid. Take good care of yourself. Really, I mean that. Look after yourself and take good care of your loved ones. Stay out of trouble, and God bless you and your family.